Hey everyone, CNC Keith here. In this video, I'm going to talk about taking a customized VCP from an older version of software and installing it in the brand new version of CNC12. Alrighty, let's check it out. Here I've got up and running a version of Acorn CNC router, CNC12 version 4.82. And this has a pretty heavily customized VCP. Some buttons have gotten moved around and other ones have been enlarged, and a few of them have custom graphics and macros and a custom logo. I think this particular VCP was posted by Sword on the forum, if my memory serves. And I'm going to use this as an example because I want to update this version of CNC12 to the latest version, which currently, at the time of this video, is version 5.02, to get all the new features of 5.02 and miscellaneous things that were added to it for free. So let's check it out. In general, and I've gone over this before in other videos, the very first thing you want to do is go to the utility menu and hit create report right here to create a fresh report.zip. The other thing you want to do, and I'm going to go over this quickly because this is not a how to update video. It's specifically for custom VCPs. Alrighty, go to the wizard and make screenshots of every single screen in the wizard. This is the version 482 wizard. So you would just want to capture all these screens so you have a record of them. Once you've done that, shut down CNC12, leave your Acorn hooked up and running to the CNC control computer, download and unzip the Centroid download for the latest version of software and double click on it to start the installer. Okay, I've started the installer and I'm going to pick Acorn and router, and we're working in inches. And it says, hey, there was already a CNCM directory. I'm going to click OK, and it'll automatically back that directory up. That directory is our 482 directory. It's also a really good idea to copy that entire CNCM folder out of the C drive and put it on another computer or on a thumb drive as backup. Because all you got to do to get 482 back up and running, or any version of CNC12, is simply copy that entire directory back into its location. The new installer is pretty smart here and notices that we already have an Ethernet adapter set up for use with Acorn, and it's asking us if we want to use it. I said yes to that. And here we go. I'm going to double click on the icon on the desktop, and just like that, in minutes we are running version 5.02. It's currently updating the firmware on the Acorn board to the latest version. It's pretty slick. The Centroid takes care of all the firmware for you. So there's no firmware to worry about installing. It just takes care of it and does it for you. So follow the instructions and don't power off the Acorn board while the new firmware is being installed. And then CNC12 starts. Here we go. Takes a few minutes the very first time once she's up and running. And here we are at version 5.02. I can also see that here in the setup screen. And you'll notice the virtual control panel looks a lot different in version 5.02. This whole section of the VCP down here is now fully editable, where in previous versions it was not. So that's nice because for a number of different reasons. But I want this VCP to look like the old 482 VCP. Now, the mistake and the reason for this video that users are doing is they're running out here to their C drive, and this is the backup directory here that the installer created. I'm just going to go ahead and rename this so it's easy to keep track of. And this is the 482 directory. So this is the 482 version of CNC12 right here. There it all is. There's everything underneath in that folder that is required for 482 to run. And inside of 482, there's a resources folder and VCP. And this VCP button is that all the information that is there that made that VCP that I showed you, the 482 VCP with the big buttons and the custom graphics, run and work. So this has been edited. So whether this VCP was edited by you or an OEM or an integrator, all those custom files for the graphics and everything is right there in that folder. You can see somebody made a copy of the original VCP folder and put it here, and then made a copy of it and then began to edit it. This is a good way to do things, to come up with a custom file, custom VCP. Alrighty, well, the mistake is just taking that entire file. So here we are on 482, right click, copy, and then pasting it out to the version 5. This is the version 5 CNC12 folder, the one we're currently running right here. This is where we're at. And resources, VCP. So everything in this folder is what you see here on the screen. By the way, there's a bunch of new skins here. So there's the diagonal skin. Also, if you want diagonal jogging. These are the 2 stock skins, okay, that are included. Well, if you copy over that old 482 VCP skin, it's going to try to run the 482 VCP here with the version 5.0 VCP. And one of the big differences that I mentioned, there's a whole bunch of things that we improved upon and added to the new version 5.0, but this whole area down here with the reset button, the feed rate override, is now fully editable. It's part of the skin. We're in the old version in the 482 skin. If you go and open that up, you're going to notice that here, I'll just open this up in Notepad++, and I'll bring it over. Hey, here's all your buttons, okay, for the VCP. So all the buttons you see on the screen are right here. Well, there's no reset button and there's no feed rate override buttons, because in 482 those were hard-coded. And what we did in version 5.0 is we opened them up so that now you can change the look of these, the placement, you can delete them, you can do whatever you want. So back to how do I get all my customizations here in version 5.0 that were on the 482 skin. All you got to do is copy over those buttons, those folders that were custom from the 482 install to the 5.0. So let's do one. Spindle warm up was one that I remember. So here's spindle warm. So I'm just going to copy that out of the 482, and we're going to go over to the resources folder for the VCP on the 5.0, go into buttons. And a good way to do this is rename this folder here. So you could go original or OEM. I like to use the word stock. It's the stock spindle warm button. It's the button that comes with it. And then I pasted the 482, the customized, not the 482, the customized VCP warm button right there. Now to see, the VCP reads all those button folders when it starts. So obviously it did not make an effect right now. So what you do is you shut her down and you start her back up. There's that custom button graphic showed up. So do that for every single custom button, graphic, layout, all that good stuff. Now how about the movement of these buttons? The jog buttons, like in the old one, cycle cancel was really big, and these plus and minus Z buttons were over here. Well, you do that in the 5.0 VCP skin just like you did it in 482. Don't copy the whole skin over, but start with the version 5.0 skin. So let me make sure I'm in the right folder. So here I am in the current CNCM directory, resources VCP. So this is the 5.0 skin now. Let's open it up with Notepad++. Always use Notepad++. Now I've got 2 Acorn Router VCP skins open. One's the 5.0 version and the other one's the customized 482. And look at this here. Down at the bottom of the version 5.0 is all the lines that show and control these buttons down here. So that's why you want to start with this skin. So you get all the features of version 5.0, and you can have your cake and eat it too. You can have your custom buttons. So what I would do is I would go back to my custom skin. Let me just make this big so you can follow along. And we could just highlight all the way up to here, which is all our buttons. Copy, go over to the new 5.0 skin, and whoops, I gotta be careful what I'm grabbing, and replace just the main body of buttons. And there we go. Now if I hit save, now the missing part of this is every one of these custom buttons, I gotta copy the button folder over so both the graphic and the XML file are also included in the new VCP folder. Now let me show you what happens if I don't do that. If I shut this down and restart, now remember I edited the skin and I didn't copy the folders, so there's going to be missing files and buttons possibly here. There we go. Missing XML file for key slot buttons. So I need key slot. Still complaining about key slot. Graphics missing. Surface table. Surface table stuff's missing. Alright, but hey, the buttons being moved worked, and making them bigger worked. So it just looks like I got to copy over a few folders here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's fix that. So back to 482. Back to resources, VCP, buttons, and what was it? Key slot. Let's put this in alphabetical order. Okay, key slot, copy, and I'm going to go ahead and just open up another. And so I can have two windows open at once. Okay, boom, paste, and what was the other one there? Well, heck, I can't remember. So let's just shut down CNC12 and restart it, and we'll see the key slot appear, and then it'll complain about the other one, and I'll be able to find it. Quick and easy. Alrighty, surface table, that's right. Alrighty, so there's our key slot. Let's go find that surface table. So I'm running back to the 482 and surface table. There it is. Copy, and let's paste that here in the version 5.0. Okay, getting there, one button at a time, 5 yards in a cloud of dust. Let's shut this down and start it over. We'll see what else it complains about or is missing. So you kind of get the idea here. So you're re-customizing. The general theme is you're applying your customizations to the existing version 5 VCP. That way the new features inside of the version 5 VCP you get, and you can work with them and you can edit them and modify them, as well as having your custom modifications and macros running on the new version of software with the new version of the VCP. So that's how you do that. Be sure to also, if you have any custom macros that correspond to these buttons, so here's the macro list. These are the mfunct47s. If these were customized, be sure to copy them out as well and stuff them into the main CNC M directory. And again, it's a good idea to copy the macros that are there and make a backup copy of them. And be sure to restart CNC12 because the button, to pick up all the latest graphics, XML files, and buttons. And related to this, but kind of assumed, is before you do any of this, go back into the wizard and reset all your parameters and everything with those screenshots that we made out of the 482 wizard, because there's new stuff here in the 5.0 wizard about tool changers and other things have been improved. So you want to run through this wizard, get all your data over, hit right settings of CNC control, then and only then go edit to VCP and copy your macros over, do one thing at a time, get basic motion functioning, use the basic the included stock VCP, make sure that's all working, then go edit the VCP with your customizations. Once you get everything just the way you want, be sure to go back and hit Create Report, and you can create a version 5.0 report. That way, if you ever have to install version 5.0 tube due to a bad hard drive or a new computer that you want to install, you don't have to redo all this work that we just talked about. You can just hit Restore Report, and it puts it all right back the way it was. Okay, wrapping up the discussion here, I went ahead and copied over the customized logo, and that was pretty easy to do. I want to talk about the reset button here. Since I mentioned the reset button along with the feed rate override is all new, copying over the reset button folder from the old version to the new version isn't going to work like I told you for all these other buttons. It will work, but not the reset button. And here's why. So let's check it out. What we're talking about here is under Resources, VCP, Buttons, and Reset. The Reset folder is the folder for the big reset button on the VCP. And inside that folder, there's an XML file. And the XML file is the set of instructions that tells the VCP how to work that reset button. I went ahead and opened these up. So this is the new version 5.0 reset button XML file, and this is the old one. So you can see there's a difference. And the difference is these two lines here are now telling the VCP which images to use. This stuff was hard-coded in the old version, and the new version it's not. So that's why you can't simply use your old XML file. You can use your images, but you can't copy that whole folder over like you could with these other individual buttons. So all I did was I copied the images over from the old install, and voila, when I hit it, you can see this was the old image of the customized VCP. The Centroid one is a white background rather than yellow. This is kind of cool, showing that yellow background there. All right, that's all there is to it. I just wanted to also mention that the VCP user's manual has also been updated. It's currently, the updated version is in draft mode, but it's 99% complete. And what's new about the new manual is it has a bunch of good information in what's new about version 5.0, and it covers all those cool features with examples. This is a pretty comprehensive manual. If you've customized your VCP, you'll be familiar with this, but be sure to go download the latest version. And there's an improved troubleshooting section as well. So if things like, hey, my VCP is not showing up, what's going on? And or it looks like this, gives you some really good advice. So I'll put a link in the description. And I also recently did a video talking about how to use InkScape to properly create words that show up in the buttons. So be sure to check that out as well. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.